Hey guys, it's VCT Pacific. We are here in Seoul, South Korea, and it is a very special weekly recap. Not only is it the last one, but we're all here together as one.
Jazz hands.
All right, I'm going to start with the introductions. I'm Victoria. We've got Tasteless.
Tasteless, I can't believe we're finally here. It's been many, many weeks, but I gotta say, this event has been incredible, and I've really enjoyed being part of it.
Been an honor. We've got Will.
Yeah, that's
Will
me.
Cho.
William Cho with the lowest prediction rate here on the global broadcast.
Jesus.
Oh, sorry.
We've
I'm
got
Valdez. I have the highest prediction rate.
Okay.
We don't mention that other guy that's not here yet, or today.
What
He's
guy?
not coming later either.
Yeah, this is all of us. Yeah, what do you mean?
Yeah.
And then you got Quack, Paper X loyal supporter. Accurate, very accurate.
Yeah, Quack, the betrayer supporter. Anyway, we are going to recap everything that's happened so far, and mostly we're going to talk about the finals, lower brackets, and the grand finals, which won't be here. It's going to be at Jeoncheon Stadium. Let's talk about our prediction results. Speaking of.
There it is.
Oh, there's me with the lowest rate in both playoffs and overall. Hey, I got. At least I'm consistent. All right, let's put it that way. At least I'm consistent.
As the host, I need to point out one really important thing. I know we have so many experts here in Korea, but somehow the host has the highest playoff prediction.
Yeah, but the host also has
Correct.
the lowest, because I've also hosted the desk a couple of times.
The superior host has the highest
alpha
prediction. The alpha host, thank you. You have,
Yeah,
but Valdez.
Can we talk about the overall prediction rate?
Yes.
Because the larger sample size, I think, is where the truly the best predictors are found. And Achilles and I have gotten the highest one because we are very safe and not interesting at all and have taken zero risks over the course of the entire league.
That's the tip.
Well done.
That's how to predict well.
Congrats. Everyone, round of applause. Good job to our star predictors. Now let's talk about the actual competition that's going on, the playoff brackets, and how we've come to this very point. Let's pull up the chart. Tasteless, please take us through that.
Yeah, I mean, it's been quite the ride here. So far, we've got the teams eliminated here, Team Secret and Zeta falling down. And just recently, we saw Genji be taken out here by T1. In the finals itself, it's going to be Paper X, and then we're going to find out who their opponent is. It's going to be one of the two Korean teams, either DRX or T1.
Yeah, and here's the thing. I mean, you can see what our predictions were on the previous weekly recap. I mean, we thought Team Secret was looking so hot coming into the playoffs in Zeta Division. Maybe the miracle run happens again, but Team Secret kind of lost their touch right at the end against Genji, and then Zeta Division, I mean, quite frankly, T1 was just the better prepared team here in this gauntlet of a bracket.
That's right, and we were really surprised by the last matchup between DRX and Paper X. We had the first upset with Paper X finally defeating DRX, but let's see if they can do that again. But before that, we're gonna go into the lower bracket finals. We've got DRX and T1 facing off. We've got two Korean teams, and again, we didn't expect DRX necessarily to be in the lower bracket. I know most of us predicted Paper X, but we were kind of like, is that really gonna happen?
I don't know, it just felt like it was their time, right? Like Paper X have had many, many years where they weren't able to defeat DRX in quite a while, and they were able to get it done. As we're taking a look at the head-to-head record between DRX and T1, of course. This is highlighting their previous matchup that they did have. It was relatively close, actually. So even though DRX were able to take the victory, they did play on blind. They were the first team that were able to take out T1 on that map. And then it went to Pearl, where also DRX were able to take that down. So even though DRX did win, maybe T1's got an angle here.
I want to say I think that there's a really realistic possibility that T1 causes an upset. As we've had every passing week here at VCT Pacific, it does seem like everybody's been watching a lot of tape on DRX. And You know, it's just going to be one best of 3. If T1 can really figure out those weak points, like we've already seen Paper X do, maybe we end up with a finals here where T1 moves on.
But still, right, it is like lower bracket finals, best of 5, 5 maps. Can T1 really prep that much, and has DRX shown their full strength?
I think that's the biggest thing. I think the current trajectory from T1 is that they are looking stronger and stronger. However, having to go that deep into the map pool, I mean, surely DRX have a couple maps where they're able to bring themselves back, even if they were to lose the first map.
I mean, that really is the question. Initially, we thought it would be quite easy for DRX to defeat T1, but at this point, with T1 looking so good, I think you're right, Tasteless. It could be T1. And with that, let's kind of do a head-to-head comparison with Paper X versus DRX, and also Paper X versus T1, and see how that's been going over the season. First up, Paper X versus DRX. Quack, how do you feel about this rematch?
Just look at the numbers. It's like Paper X on top of everything. It's the best team ever, guys. I mean, yeah, I think DRX did beat Paper X once throughout league play, and it was good, but today, just Paper X showed this completely new form. Apparently something on Reyna on Bind is the secret ingredient. We just go really fast, really aggressive, and DRX cannot do anything against us. Meanwhile, for T1, it's like slightly the same thing, but also different, because that back then it was like Paper X having Forsaken on that lurk. He had 2 aces, some knife kills. Paper X all the way.
Do you think Paper X can have another, run with win over DRX?
Yeah, I think it's possible, just because they did win in this upper bracket final and because they get that advantage in the grand finals. If they had to come up from the lower bracket with the map, ban pick advantage going to DRX, I think it would have been tough. But now Paper X, not only can they ban out whatever map they don't want to play, but they can also ban out whatever they think is DRX's strongest suit, right? And then they get to choose whether they pick map or side first. I mean, that is a massive advantage on a DRX currently that does not look as complete as they used to.
I think we got to remember that when PRX beat DRX, it was really because they just took control of every round so quickly that a lot of what DRX had planned, we didn't really even get to see, right? It's just Paper X comes out firing, they come out swinging. And so if DRX is going to have successful finals, assuming they get that far here versus PRX, they're going to have to be ready to basically absorb the first initial blows and figure out how to reconfigure from there.
Yeah, you guys are, I completely agree with you guys. But we did also see Mako get knifed for the very first time in Pacific, maybe ever. Have you guys ever seen him get knifed?
I don't think Mako's ever been knifed, no.
Yeah.
He's rarely in that position.
Yeah, it's crazy. So it could be Paper X again, and again, it's just so shocking because it's really the first time Paper X has been able to do this. Now let's look at Paper X and T1 and their past head-to-head record, the track record there, and they could be facing off T1 too.
I think that's, the first time you'll note in league play, it was match 12, so that was quite a long time ago. And then they did meet, of course, in the upper bracket there, which was much closer. And this is, a Paper X that's getting better and better. It's also a T1 that's getting better and better. I think you can look at the first match and kind of write it off as, okay, Paper X, they were a more well-rounded team at the time. T1 definitely needed a lot more time to put everything together, put all the pieces together. Yet still, the second time that they met up, which was very recently, Paper X also was able to take a 2-0, and even though the map score was much closer, it still felt like kind of Paper X was leading the entire time. So personally, I do feel like if these two teams do meet up, though it will be a different look because T1 will have defeated DRX at that point. So we will have to look at it in kind of different lens. But at the same time, Paper X, to me, still feels like the strongest team in Pacific, and I would have to give them the advantage, regardless of if T1 defeats DRX.
Yeah, I just want to add in one other point. If T1 are able to win in lower bracket finals and get to the grand finals, normally we would say, okay, this team, they haven't been together for very long, playing on a huge stage. That's going to add a lot of pressure. However, all 5 of these players, or I guess 4 of at least of the main starting roster, has played on big stages before across different games, across different regions. So I think that part's not going to affect them at all.
With that, let's actually talk about our predictions going into grand finals. Who you guys think is going to be the champion, runner-up, and third place. I actually don't know what you guys have predicted. William, you're still sticking with
I just don't get it.
DRX.
I mean, look.
Victor is at a loss for words.
I'm like, why? Obviously, it's Paper X. You know what? Tasteless, you're a convert. You know, you picked DRX initially, and
I'm
Valdez
spreading
as well.
the good word now about Paper X. Look, I kind of switched sides here. Obviously, you know, being in the Korea region, we were so familiar with DRX, but I just looked at the way that Paper X was played, and it was so different. It was so aggro, and it was such a pleasant change from, I think, the more kind of methodical and careful approach the Koreans have. And I think that Paper X can probably still take this. Keep in mind that whoever's going to come out of the losers bracket finals, they have to prep for an entirely different team, and then the very next day go up against a super aggro opponent in Paper X. So I just feel like they've got it.
How about you, Valdez? Why have you
We're just
converted?
skipping over.
Yeah, we're not going to talk about this DRX fanboy over here. The reason why Paper X is going to win is, again, like I said, I just think they're the best team. Like, after you 2-0 DRX in that fashion, I don't really think any other team is going to match you. So, in my opinion, they're definitely going to be the first place. I think DRX will shore up some of their mishaps that they had against Paper X. I don't think it should be that one-sided, even though I did predict Paper X to win it against DRX. But I think that T1, you know, coming into this one, maybe on a bigger stage, they'll have some opportunities. But DRX have also been on multiple international stages, and currently their form seems to be better. So I had to pick them over T1, and then, of course, Paper X on top.
Okay, that's fair enough. I mean, Team Secret did also 2-0 DRX, but you're right, in the fashion that Paper X did it with so much confidence. And Quack, we're going to come to you, Will. Don't worry.
This is feeling like an intervention at a certain point, but go ahead. Yeah.
I just want you to rethink your prediction, and we're going to let everyone make their case.
We'll have a
Quack,
rethink. Let's see if we
besides
can
the
convince
bias.
Will. Yeah, I mean, besides the bias, it's really just how unique they are. Do you see any other team play Phoenix on Pearl, Reyna on Bind? It's only Paper X, and they are the only ones who can make such compositions or such strategies work because they are that capable. I don't know if DRX, you know, following that sort of standard kind of methodical gameplay can adapt to that fast enough, especially if you're going through, like Valdez mentioned, going through low bracket finals first, and then the next day. It's so much to consider. And then also just Coach Alex and his desk. I think Paper X has a lot of things going for them in this current standing.
All right, Will, what
do you
say
got?
you about
Give him
DRX?
flip-flops. Give him flip-flops.
No, just first of all, let it be known I did predict Paper X in the upper bracket finals, right? I thought they
Okay.
were going to beat DRX.
That's true.
I do have a very specific reason why I think DRX will eventually come out on top. Because quite frankly, I think given the current form, T1 might even have a chance to beat DRX in the lower bracket finals. But I think there's a slim chance that Zest comes back into the roster. And if Zest comes back in for a best of 5 where you need the mental endurance, where you need the focus, and they just say, you know what, we need to get that first seed to go to Tokyo, if they bring back old DRX, right, play by the textbook, go for just retakes and set plays, I think that might be the key to, you know, beat Paper X. It's worked for them 4 times in the past, and surely it's a consideration they're making right now as they have a couple of days break leading up to the finals weekend.
I think honestly, I think we all agree with that. That's a really fair point, just simply stamina-wise, except for Quack. But, you know, there's a reason why Paper X jokingly calls DRX their oppas. They've taken a lot of DRX's plays and made it their own, and they're their oppas. They're the OGs, so who knows how this is going to turn out. Now let's talk about next week's schedule. On Saturday, we've got a show match, and I'm pretty excited for that. We have a lot of the top streamers, the pro players from the teams that have already been knocked out. You're going to see them in LCQ later. Pro players from Game Changers who are going to be playing.
This is going to be just an exciting weekend. I can't wait to just get in there and cast this or be at the desk, whatever it's going to be, because this is the first big, truly international event here, and this game has been blowing up in Korea, and to have what is going to be, no matter what, a Singaporean team versus a Korean team, that's going to be hype. The audience is going to be going nuts.
Yeah, and I'm curious to see, can Paper X gain more fans? They've had a lot of fans in Korea just because of their playstyle, but now they have to play against the home crowd, the home team in the grand finals. Curious to see what kind of show they're able to put up, but starting with the show match as well, this is a celebration for VCT Pacific.
Yeah, and one last bit on the, DRX versus T1 in that lower bracket and then having to go up against Paper X. If you do want a little bit of hopium and you are a DRX fan and you've been one for a long time and you're hoping that they can eventually take back their throne, they're going to get even though it is a little bit of a detriment to, of course, have to prepare for two teams, you also do get that day before experience to kind of get comfortable with the stage and say, okay, I know exactly what this feels like. I am not going to be as nervous, and I already defeated T1 if that does come to pass. And so I'll have a better time against PaperX. Same thing for T1 if they end up defeating DRX.
Totally. I was just thinking about what that stadium's gonna look and feel like playing on it. I wish the 5 of us can be a stack to play in a show match there, but at the same time, just like PaperX versus T1 or DRX, this is, you know, like Will mentioned, a big celebration for Pacific. Let's have a bit of Pacific pride because this goes into Masters Tokyo. And maybe like PaperX actually lifts the trophy for the first time, or DRX lifts the trophy, or T1, I don't know. It's gonna be insane playing against like all the other regions.
Yeah, I mean, this is going to be the first team ever to lift the trophy in VCT Pacific, right? Opening season, opening year here for Pacific. Very curious to see which out of the 3 it's going to be.
I'm really excited for it. It's the first time we're all going to be in the stadium. We're all going to be there together, including Paper Thin and Achilleos. And I think it's going to be a freaking good time. Again, like you said, all 3 of these teams will be going to Tokyo. They will be going to LA for champions. But whoever is going to be reigning supreme next weekend, well, that remains to be the question to be answered. With that, I bid you adieu for the very last weekly recap here at VCT Pacific here in Seoul, South Korea. Thank you, gentlemen, for joining me. I'll see you guys in the stadium.
Make waves. We'll make waves. We will make waves. We will make waves. We will make waves.